Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today we are in the V Cuniberti, the Tier 7 Italian destroyer, and there is a very good reason for that. This past update, the majority of the Italian destroyers received buffs, according to the Ministry of Balance. What Wargaming says, Italian destroyers from tier 6 and up quickly lose their ability to stand in gun duels and aren't designed for torpedo warfare. We're improving the reload on these SAP gunboats to bridge the gap. For example, Luca Trigo, 6.5 seconds down to 5.5 second reload. The Vittorio Cuniberti, going from 6 seconds to 5.5 seconds base reload, which is an 8% buff to its reload, and Adriatico going from 5.7 down to 4.5, which makes that boat an entirely new ship. It is absolutely crazy. So, with that said, we're going to have to try out these new gunboats, and that's exactly what we are going to do. So here we are on Shards. We spawned A, and we're going to push into the cap to try to find whatever this destroyer is. We're noticing a bit too hot for us right now, so we're going to do the one smart thing we can do, pop our smoke and get the fuck out. The good news is we do have Charles Martel pushing in. We do have 2 battleships. He's going to go broadside to them, which means hopefully they can go ahead and assist in taking him down, or at least knocking him down a couple of pegs. We will use the SAP on him. The SAP can do some pretty decent damage when you need it to, and they are just laying into Charles Martel right there. But we're going to kind of exit out here. At this moment, I'm kind of deciding. We know there's a destroyer in A. We also know the Charles Martel is very weak, and my initial thing is he had like 10 health when we first kind of disengaged, but he's clearly activating his heal. But I think we should be able to take him on, but our teammates go ahead and wipe him. So we don't really need to worry about him anymore. It's time now to engage whoever is in A because, well, that other cruiser is kind of getting out. We do have our teammates supporting us here, and our friendly cruiser, the Cleveland, just popped his radar, and we can now see the enemy destroyer is a Z-44. So we're going to go ahead and use these new gunboat chops and see exactly what Cuniberti can do. I will say that with Cuniberti and a lot of the Italian DTs, I feel like the accuracy sometimes just isn't there. It feels like you miss some shells that you wouldn't usually expect to, but that's okay. You can see we're going to do some pretty decent damage here. Thankfully, our shorter range guns means we're not spotted by that cruiser that's out on the flank. He's just outside our firing range, which means we do have sort of free reign to engage the Z-44 and remain concealed without having to really do anything. So that's one destroyer down, and we now have the Rochester out and about. As far as plans go, we know we need to take A, we need to get the points income, and then we're going to go ahead and develop and feel what else we can do. I wanted to try to engage Rochester here because we could duck behind this island if necessary, use our smoke to engage him. The SAP is fairly effective against some of these ships. Also, if we can take his ire, maybe our teammates can go ahead and engage him, but we'll use one more of our smokes to sort of disengage here. Looking back, probably wasn't the smartest play because he did take a large chunk of our damage, and that is one of the things we kind of have to be aware with these Italian destroyers is they do lose out on damage, or they do lose out with their small HP pool fairly quickly, so you do have to sort of spend that HP correctly, and there was not a great example of it. But we do have a new enemy destroyer popping up right here, the Jaeger. We're going to try to get some shells into him. You can see we're not doing the best at leading him, but the shells also will sort of bracket him. So this is what I was talking about earlier with that spread on the destroyer guns not exactly being the greatest, but, you know, we kind of have to deal with it what we can. Rochester is going to be a nuisance out there, but at this moment, I'm like, okay, well, what can we do? We could try to go to B, but that does feel a little bit risky. I think the better play, especially with the amount of battleships in our area, is going to be to try to go hunt down that Jaeger. We know he's in the area. We can see just how deadly he's being as he successfully? No, he barely misses out on taking out our Fletcher. So we're going to go ahead and try to pursue this Jaeger because he is going to be a thorn in our team's side. So we do need to try to dispatch him. Also, the way we are on shards right now, we're kind of breaking in to that classic second phase of shards. What happens on shards is usually one team will win one side of the map, the other team will win the other side of the map. Usually, the team that spawns in the upper right-hand corner will win the C side. Our team will usually win the A side. That's because the ships that go around to B, they spawn on those sides for each other, so there's naturally some imbalance there. Then in the second half of the match, the whole map dynamic sort of swivels by about 90 degrees. It rotates to where now it becomes a line of aggression across the middle, where the islands around B form the center line, as opposed to being split horizontally down the diagonal. All of that said, meaning if we want to put ourselves in the best position for when that happens, we are going to need to eliminate the ships that are on our side of this new halfway mark, right? We're going to have to eliminate everything south of B so that our team is somewhat concealed and has a chance at winning out as the teams up at C push down through B. So what that means is we are going to have to pursue this Jaeger. We can see, thanks to Twist and Track, that he is not staying with the Rochester. He has split off, and that's good for us because, of course, it could get very bad with how close we are to this Rochester. He could start to very much light us up, but the Jaeger has kind of split out, gone for the try to go in the back lines sort of strategy, and that means we should be able to separate out and isolate him and take him down with relative ease. Now, as far as our commander goes, we are running Rizzo as our commander. I have changed him up just a little bit since the last time I've played with him, mainly because of this buff. Previously, I was using Mortar in the second slot, and just because you needed all of the damage you could get because of how long the reload was, and you just needed to eke out, and you needed that, extra 6 to 13% that Mortar gives. Now with this 8% boost to reload, well, we can go ahead and flip over that second slot skill over to Swordfish, which is going to boost the damage of the SAP, still giving us a decent buff there, but also buffing our torpedo damage and extending our engine duration. You'll see what we did there was we held off on our engine boost until we were spotted by the Jaeger. This is sort of one of my strats for when using these destroyers, because they are kind of high concealment destroyers, which means if you have a stealthy boy, you're gonna have to try to catch up to him somehow. And my strategy for being able to catch up to them is wait until you're spotted, then hit that engine boost. Rizzo has a good chunk of skills that help boost the duration of that engine boost. That engine boost is an incredibly strong but short duration engine boost, getting you up to like 50 knots, which means you can close distance with another destroyer if necessary. And then if it gets too hot, you have your smokes to disengage. But that's sort of my plan when using these style of destroyers, to try to push in and get the best results. Cool. I know we just took a ton of time and we're kind of evenly split as far as the map goes, but we have now established that lower half versus upper half style of game that we were discussing earlier. That is where this game has broken out to. So what can we do? Well, personally, I know we're going to have to find the last destroyer. He's doing a fairly good job. It's a Kurasame, which is a bit scary because if you don't remember, Kurasames have 3 different types of ships that they can be. They have 3 different loadouts, and some of them have deep water torpedoes. Some of them have rapid fire guns. Some of them have slower firing guns, but higher damage. There is a bunch of different loadouts that it can be. And at this moment, I don't know what loadout he is, so I need to be prepared for anything. Right now, we do have sort of that cruiser holding off at B, contesting the cap, and we can see this main looks like he's going to try to push on through. So we're going to go ahead, and there's Kurasame out there. we're going to go ahead, come on in and try to lay down some torpedoes and then swing around the rear of the cap. The reason we are doing this is twofold. One, we want to give our torpedoes time to reload. The torpedoes that are on the Italian destroyers are not the strongest. They are sort of sea mines. They're slow and fairly low damage, to the point where if you try to take on, say, this main, you may not be able to fully kill him, even if you landed all 8 torpedoes. The alpha strike on them is not the highest. So we want to give time for these waves to hit. Also, we kind of just want to keep them guessing as what location we're on. This also gives us time to sort of hook up with this other destroyer, because we are going to have to try to hunt this Kirasame together. Thankfully, we do get 2 torpedoes in onto the main, and it turns out he was on a damage control party reset. He had used his GCP recently, which means this is going to be a permaflood, and we are going to enjoy as we rack up the damage on the main as we meet up with our other friendly destroyer here. The plan being, usually this late in the game, is once this main is down, we will go hunting for the last destroyer, that Kirasame. Main currently taking over with what is our twist and track telling us where it is, but thankfully Kirasame telling us where they are right now, just because they are taking A. Kind of the play you have to go for. They are currently down on ships, so they need as many points as possible. So we are going to head straight for A and hopefully bring our friendly destroyer with us. As far as the plan for engaging here, what I want to do is try to get to one side of this channel, because if we can get to one side of this channel, we can then cut to the other side if we end up getting engaged. A lot of times people will dump the torpedoes with your current track, so if we can shift over to the other side of the channel, if there's a split second I want to go ahead and engage you with the torpedoes thing, then we have that. We get spotted, we go ahead, hit that speed boost once again, and there he is. Kirasame pops up. His loadout is the higher fire rate, kind of gunboat version of the Kirasame. I forgot about this, but this loadout actually has deep water torpedoes, but I'm taking this engagement as if he does have just regular torpedoes that he could be flinging at me at any point. Gets a little hot for me, so I'm going to go ahead and pop my smoke. This is going to allow the other destroyer that was kind of with me to reposition, maybe get out of the cap, because I thought he would have been a little bit closer, but turns out he's kind of holding back, but he's going to be able to spread out and, be able to get some shots in. It also just kind of lets things reset, lets my team reposition for the best way to kill this Kirasame. There he is. He pops up here. And then we start running into one of the issues with SAP. We're not really getting the pen. You can see we're doing decent hits, and the SAP can be absolutely deadly when it pens, but I think he's just totally damage saturated at this point. So we're going to flip over to HE, do the damage. Friendly ends up finishing him off, and then we just have 45 seconds left to go. Sadly, not enough time to take the cap. If the other destroyer was closer, we could bring in some additional points, but hey, we will take it. Guys, this is the new Italian destroyers. I really, really enjoy them. I enjoyed them before, but they were tough to play. This buff definitely makes them a bit easier to play overall. I do still wish there's a bit more health with them overall, and I think that would make them incredibly, incredibly strong. But as far as where they are now, I think this is definitely a line that you can go in and have some fun with. They are definitely way easier to grind. And if you tried them out and they just weren't your thing before, give them another go. It's totally, totally worth it. As we finish up the match with just a Confederate, I believe, but also with 3,000 XP. So with all that said, guys, if you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.